All members come to the floor of the House. We're getting ready to do roll call. We're going to have the call of the roll. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. We will have scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of this country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the chairman of the Appropriations Subcommittee on Public Safety and the representative from the 171st District, Representative Jay Powell, will introduce the chaplain of the day, Representative Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my pleasure today to introduce you to my pastor, James Sapp, who pastors at the United Methodist Church in Camilla, Georgia. James was born in Jessup, Georgia, graduated from Georgia Tech with a degree in industrial and systems engineering, was an engineer for several years with different companies, and then decided to go to seminary and went to Southwestern Seminary in Fort Worth, Texas. I want to tell you a little story about James before he comes up, give you a little bit of idea into his character. When he was a teenager, his father told him, "Son, you are old enough to make your own choices. You can choose whether to go to Sunday school and church or not." And the very next Sunday, sure enough, James slept in. And the next Sunday after that, he slept in. The next Sunday after that, his father came in, woke him up, told him, "Son, it's time to get up and go to Sunday school and church." James looked at him and said, "But I thought you said I was old enough to make my own choices." His father looked at him and said, "I thought you were, but you keep making the wrong ones." But he has made the right one since then, and I want to introduce you to my friend and my pastor, James Sapp.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and the House. I had shared that in one of my sermons, so you have to be careful what you share in your sermons. And Jay happened to remember it. He asked me if I'd be open to doing this several years ago, and I said I would be glad for the opportunity. And this past year, he said, "It looks like it might actually come up that you speak this coming year." And I said, "Well, that would be great. I'd be honored." And he said, "But please don't embarrass me." And I said, "Jay, you're an attorney and a politician, and you're worried about me embarrassing you?" And there you go. Let's go to the Lord in prayer, please. Just take a moment. Dear Heavenly Father, I ask your blessings upon these men and women. As I think they're in day 10 of 40 days, as they face the challenges of budget constraints, people from all over the great state of Georgia making special requests of them as they try to figure out what's best for all involved. I ask that you give them wisdom, strength, understanding, and compassion. Be with me as I share some of your words with them, that we might all be strengthened and blessed by you. It's in your Son, Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. I'll be reading from Romans chapter 13, verse 1 and following. Every person is to be in subjection to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God. Those which exist are established by God. Therefore, whoever resists authority has opposed the ordinance of God, and they who have opposed will receive condemnation among themselves. For rulers are not a cause of fear for good behavior, but for evil. Do you want to have no fear of authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from that same authority. For it is a minister of God to you for good. But if you do what is evil, be afraid, for it does not bear the sword for nothing. For it is a minister of God, an avenger who brings wrath on those who practice evil. Therefore it is necessary to be in subjection not only because of wrath, but also for conscience sake. Because of this you also pay taxes. For rulers are servants of God, devoting themselves to this very thing. Render to what is due them, tax to whom tax is due, custom to whom custom is due, fear to whom fear is due, honor unto whom honor is due. In this passage, Paul was trying to instruct the believers that the government is part of God's plan. Without government, we would have anarchy. And it says, if you, as a believer, want to honor God, do what is right in the eyes of your government. Because if you are doing good, the government will not do you harm. Implicit in that is that the government's goal is good for the people. We live in a country where the government is elected, and there we're to act as an agent of God. You have the awesome responsibility of serving those who elected you and yet the whole state, and to do what is good for the people. We live in a time in the world where we see tragedies occurring in different parts of the world where the government is persecuting and actually murdering their own citizens because of their own selfish behavior. How sad that is. How sad that is to God. It also says in this passage that the government has the right to wield the sword. That's from a lot of different standpoints. Law enforcement, national defense. We have the National Guard to protect us in times of emergency, disaster relief. And also the criminal justice system. God says that's all in place to protect us. And just as the believer is to do that which is right in the eyes of the government, so is the government to do that which is right in the eyes of God, to protect the believer and the unbeliever, that we might be all better off. It also says, paid those who are due taxes. I don't have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, but taxes have never been popular. They will never be popular. But they are necessary for the government to do what the government needs to do. You notice it says, render unto whom taxes are due and customs are due. I guess we started a debate about taxes and fees many centuries ago. But government needs income to provide the services that are necessary for the people. We in our own country, the United States of America, are here because then the colonies' government failed them. They no longer represented them, but saw them as a cash cow to take care of England. And we had the now famous Boston Tea Party, no taxation without representation, because that government had failed the people in what was then the colonies, and we rebelled. Now we don't rebel in that armed way any longer. We rebel every 2 years. when the government fails to meet the needs of the people and to put the people first. You are elected to serve God and the people of Georgia. Not your own agenda, not your party, but God and the people of Georgia. Just as we are called to render unto the government what it deserves, the government is to render to the people what they deserve, what's best for all, with humanity and compassion. May we be known as a state that honors one another and God. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the great blessings of being a part of this great state of Georgia and of being a part of the United States of America. I ask, Lord, again, your blessings upon these men and women as they make tough decisions, and the decisions will get tougher as the days count down to number 40. The days will get longer, the tempers will flare, but we ask that you give patience, wisdom, strength, guidance, and compassion among these men and women and their staff as they make very difficult decisions. It's in your Son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. If you'll please join me in the pledge to allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.
No pictures here. Doorkeepers will unlock the doors.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Come back and be with us.
All right.
And make him behave. Chair recognizes the chairman of the Committee on Information Audits, the gentleman from the 109th District, Chairman Davis.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits has read and reviewed the journal from the previous legislative day and found it to be correct.
Chairman Davis of the 109th House District, Chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. O'Neill, the 146, moves the following be established as the order of business from the first part of the period of unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. Third reading passage of uncontested local bills. Morning orders. Rules calendar. Privilege resolutions. Through the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none and the resolution is adopted. First reading of House bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 833 by Representative Hanner, 148, the bill to be entitled Act to enact reconstituting Board of Education, Terrell County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 834 by Representative Bell of 58, the bill to be entitled Act Title 48 relating to imposition rate, computation, exemptions regarding income tax.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 835 by Representative Roberts, 154th, the bill to be entitled Act Title 32 relating to weight, dimensions, vehicles, and loads.
Transportation.
House Bill 836 by Representative Roberts, 154th, the bill to be entitled Act Title 20 relating to elementary, secondary education.
Education.
House Bill 837 by Representative Evans of the 40th, Bill to be entitled Act, amending Code Section 20-3519.5, relating to eligibility requirements of HOPE grants.
Appropriations.
House Bill 838, Representative Maxwell, 17th. Bill to be entitled Act, amending Act creating Board of Commissioners, Paulding County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 839, Representative Maxwell, 17th. Bill to be entitled Act, amending Act Board of Education, Paulding County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 840 by Representative Parrish, 156. Bill to be entitled Act, amending Act creating Board of Commissioners in Emmanuel County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 841, Representative Parrish, 156. Bill to be entitled Act, amending Act providing election Board of Education, Emmanuel County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 842, Representative Benfield, the 85th. A bill to be entitled Act, amending Act relating to Board of Education, City of Decatur.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 843, Representative Benfield, the 85th. Bill to be entitled Act, amending Title II, relating to agricultural commodities promotion.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
House Bill 844 by Representative Martin, the 47th. Bill to be entitled Act, amending Code Section 3662-8, relating to obligation, authority, use of proceeds, status of revenue obligations.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 845 by Representative Watson, 163rd. A bill to be entitled Act, amending Title 20, relating to early care and training.
Health and Human Services.
Senate Bill 117 by Senator Stone, 23rd. A bill to be entitled Act, amending Title 44, relating to exemptions from levy and sale of property.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 306 by Senator Bullock of the 11th. A bill to be entitled Act, amending Act providing Board of Education, Thomas County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
Senate Bill 318 by Senator Grant, 25th. A bill to be entitled Act, amending Act creating Board of Commissioners, Baldwin County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
Senate Bill 317 by Senator Grant, 25th. A bill to be entitled Act, amending Act providing members of the Board of Education, Baldwin County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
Through the first readers.
Second reading of House bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
HB 815 by Representative Kidd of the 141st, a bill to create Central State Hospital Local Redevelopment Authority. HB 816 by Representative Flood of the 66th, the bill relating to general authority, duties, and procedure relative to state purchasing. HB 817 by Representative Nemmer of the 178th, a bill relating to highways, bridges, and ferries. HB 818, Representative Parsons of the 42nd, a bill relating to income tax credit for clean energy property. HB 819 by Representative Maxwell of the 17th, a bill relating to property insurance, contract requirements, rules and regulations, and exemption. HB 820 by Representative Maxwell of the 17th, a bill relating to guaranteed asset protection waivers. HB 821 by Representative Oliver of the 83rd, a bill relating to school attendance in elementary and secondary education. HB 822 by Representative Lindsay of the 54th, a bill relating to equitable remedies and proceedings generally and public assistance. HB 823 by Representative Welch of the 110th, a bill to abolish the office of elected county surveyor of Henry County. HB 824 by Representative Dudgeon of the 24th, a bill relating to financing under the Quality Basic Education Act. HB 825 by Representative Nix of the 69th, a bill relating to process for students to follow in reporting instances of alleged inappropriate behavior by teachers. HB 826 by Representative Peak of the 137th, a bill relating to revenue and taxation. HB 827 by Representative Hembry of the 67th, a bill relating to serious traffic offenses. HB 828 by Representative Hembry of the 67th, bill relating to serious traffic offenses. HB 829 by Representative Lane of the 167th, a bill to amend an act to provide composition and number of state house districts. HB 830 by Representative Parent of the 81st, bill relating to incorporation of municipal district corporations. HB 831 by Representative McCall of the 30th, a bill relating to labor and industrial relations. HB 832 by Representative McCall of the 30th, a bill relating to Vidalia Onion trademark, royalty, and licensing fees. 3 second readers.
Report of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Representative Sims, 169th, Chairman, Committee on Intragovernmental Coordination, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Intragovernmental Coordination had in consideration the following bills of the House. Struck committee report the same back to the House following recommendations. House Bill 749, 750, 754, 755, 756, 757, 758, 759, 767, 768, 770, 771, 777, 779, 813 do pass. Respectfully submitted. Representative Sims, Chairman, through the committee reports.
Okay, we're going on now to the third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. The clerk will read the local calendar.
House Bill 749 by Representative Green, 149th, Calhoun County. House Bill 750 by Representative Green, 149th, Calhoun County. House Bill 754 by Representative Parrish, 156th, Candler County. House Bill 755 by Representative Parrish, 156th, Candler County. House Bill 756 by Representative Chenell, 116th, Putnam County. House Bill 757 by Representative Chenell, 116th, Putnam County. House Bill 758 by Representative Lane, 167, Glenn County. House Bill 759 by Representative Lane, 167, Glenn County. House Bill 767 by Representative Parrish, 156, Johnson County. House Bill 768 by Representative Parrish, 156, Johnson County. House Bill 770 by Representative Smith, 129th, Harris County. House Bill 771 by Representative Smith, 129th, Harris County. House Bill 777 by Representative Hanner, 148th, Terrell County. House Bill 779 by Representative Hardin, 147th, Pulaski County. House Bill 813 by Representative Hembry, 67th, Douglas County, through the local calendar.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills on the local calendar will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of the bills on the local calendar. The ayes are 158, the nays are 0. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed. This House will come to order. House will come to order, please. I'm going to ask members to please go to their seats. If you have an emergency that you need to talk to a colleague about, we have anterooms and hallways, but I'm going to ask you to please take your seats at this time. We have a very distinguished visitor with us today. House will come to order. I am told that this has probably happened one other time in the history of this chamber, where the sitting speaker of another state in our country has come to visit with us. I know it's the first time that I've been honored to hold this position, that I've been privileged to introduce another Speaker of the House to you. And this guy is special. There's really two ways at looking at my Cupboard story. We could look at the fact that we raised him up, educated him, and he fled. Or that we could look at it that we really wanted to do something good for the state of Alabama, so we sent him over there to lead those people. Mike Hubbard was born in Hartwell, Georgia. His mother was an employee of this state. His father was a postal worker and graduated from one of the finest institutions of higher learning in this country: North Georgia College and State University. Mike went on to graduate from the University of Georgia, and I don't know what happened then, but he left and went to Auburn. He became very successful at Auburn, both with the athletic program there and in business, and later, in his first attempt at public office, was elected to the Alabama House of Representatives in 1998 and has served in that body since. He served 2 terms as chairman of the Alabama Republican Party, and during his tenure as chairman, the Republican Party in Alabama won all of the statewide offices and obtained majorities in both houses of their legislature for the first time in 136 years. Mike has become a great friend of mine. I am convinced that he is one of the leading public figures now in the South. I know he's doing a great job in Alabama. I enjoy visiting with him at some of the meetings that we have, and I'm just thrilled that he came over to visit with us for a day or two. I want y'all to help me welcome to the chamber a native Georgian raised in the red clay hills of this state who is now leading the state of Alabama, Speaker Mike Hubbard of the Alabama House of Representatives. Please, you can take as long as you want.
All right, thank you.
Don't take my gavel with you.
All right, I won't. Thank you so much. Thank you. It is an honor and a privilege for me to be in my home state. It's great to be here, and I have to tell you that I too consider Speaker Ralston a wonderful friend, but I'm a little surprised that he did invite me to come over here, and I have to tell you about our first meeting. I met Speaker Ralston for the first time at the National Speakers Conference in Charleston, and the introduction went very well, and we were hitting it off. I told him at first that I was a native of Georgia, and that my father had gone to North Georgia College, and he said, "Oh, I went to North Georgia," and I said, "And then I'm a graduate of the University of Georgia." And he said, "Well, I went to law school at University of Georgia, and my college roommate was a guy named Terry Hogue, who was a great All-American football player, and I ran his Heisman campaign, and he finished 5th, and so he said, 'Oh, I know all about Terry Hogue.' But I should have stopped there, because I went a bridge too far, because the next thing I told him, I could see the blood rush from his face, and he turned white as a sheet and had this nauseated look on his face. And I should have stopped. I went a bridge too far. I said, "And I'm from Hartwell, Georgia, and Alan Powell is my cousin." But Alan, you switched parties, so I claim you now. But it is a privilege to be here. We have similar challenges in Alabama that you have here in Georgia, and by working together, and one of the best things about being a part of the Speakers Conference is being able to talk to speakers around the country, and especially states that are similar like Georgia and Alabama. We can learn from each other. We can look at best practices and utilize the good ideas from both sides. So it is an honor for me to be here. I wish you well in your session. We actually go into session 1 week from today, and we will handle our legislative redistricting during the session. So please say a prayer for us that we can get that done without any fistfights on the floor. But thank you for allowing me to be here. It is an honor again. I am always proud to be a native of Georgia, and will be until I go to my grave. So thank you very much, and thank you for your service to this great state. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We're going to suspend for just a moment. I know many of you will want to say hello to Speaker Hubbard. I told him I was glad to have him. He just had to leave my gavel when he left. In just a moment, we're going to go on to morning orders. If you have a morning order, I would ask that you make your way down to the front of the chamber. The House will come back to order. House will come to order. We're going on to morning orders. Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Yasmin Neal. Representative Neal for a morning order.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I come before you today for support for two pieces of legislation. One's a resolution, one's a bill. First bill is an amendment to Criminal Code Section 16595 in reference to family violence orders. At the present time, if I were to take a family violence order against someone else and then I were to violate said order, if the police were called, the only person that would be arrested would be the other person and not the person who violated the order, who took the order out. So the bill amends it to where whether you take it out or not, both persons can be charged either way depending on who violated the order. That's the first one. The second one actually taps onto Chief Justice Carol Hunstein's recommendation the other night in reference to an alternative for juveniles instead of going to juvenile detention centers. It establishes a House study committee on the establishment of an expulsion school. This school will be a 24/7 boarding school kind of model. Instead of being sent to RYDC or juvenile detention center, the kids would be taken to the expulsion school. They would still be following the curriculum of their originating school. It will be a K through 12 situation. 24/7 paramilitary parent visitation. The kids will not leave until they graduate out or any other way that the study committee deems appropriate for them to get out of the school. So this is a recommendation to kind of tax on to what Ms. Hunstein recommended a couple nights ago. I would really appreciate your support on either one of them, and I will leave them to my left. Thank you so much.
Chair recognizes Representatives McKillop, Chuck Williams, and Hurd for an invite resolution. Morning order, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased and honored to be joined by Representative Williams and Hurd as we recognize some folks that while they have come here from Athens, I think that everyone can take some pride in who they are and what they represent to this body. I am joined in the gallery today by Dr. Ness, Associate Dean, Dr. Morrow, Associate Professor, my good friend Allison McCulloch, and Dean Barbara Schuster from the Georgia Health Sciences Medical Partnership campus in Athens. Now, we passed the bill and the budget a few years ago establishing the Health Sciences Partnership and opening a campus in Athens, which will help alleviate the shortage of doctors in the state. These young people, all 39 of them, and this is why everyone in the room can be pleased and proud of what we've done, all 39 of them are Georgians. I just talked to them. They all intend to stay here. We've just given them 400 new slots of residency so that they can start to learn their craft here and so that then they can open businesses and treat people here. Most importantly, they asked me which specialty they might endeavor to graduate in to treat most of the people in the room, and I immediately knew the answer was psychiatry. So they are here with us today. I am going to ask them to stand. They are the future of medicine in Georgia. They are the future of our health, and they are the future of our economy. Your 39 Athens future doctors, all second years.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Chairman Smyrie.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. Today is Columbus State University Day at the Capitol, and if you have not been down on the second floor, we encourage you to go down and see some of the offerings of Columbus State University. And on behalf of the Columbus delegation, we just wanted to welcome Columbus State University. It's one of our finest institutions in the state of Georgia, and we're very proud of Columbus State in Columbus. And our president, Dr. Tim Mescon, is in the gallery. But y'all please give it and welcome all of the members of the Columbus State University team. All of y'all will stand. We appreciate y'all being here, and thank y'all very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the will.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Jurgensen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and to my colleagues, what a wonderful morning this is. It's the sun shining and the birds are singing, and it's a beautiful day in the state of Georgia. But as we all know, January 31st is also the day that businesses all around our state are required to file and pay their federal unemployment tax. And we had a little bit of a surprise this year for our businesses around the state with the increased taxation under that form. I have in my hand a bill that will address an injustice in our state for our business owners, especially small business. And it's simply this. If you have an employee, if a business has an employee that works a full-time job and also has a part-time job, the business owner of that business that employs that individual part-time is still required to pay unemployment tax on that individual. Although if the individual loses that job, they're not eligible for benefits because they still have a full-time job. We're basically double taxing our businesses, and we're double taxing individuals who employ people on a part-time basis. So I have a bill that will correct this system. I encourage you to come up and read it. It's all of 9 lines. It's simple and clean. I'd like your support. I'll be in the front if anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cooper to introduce the Doctor of the Day. Chairman Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it's my honor to introduce Dr. Maureen Olson. I don't know what's in the works for us, but she's another emergency room physician. So everybody be careful going down the stairs and walking around outside. We don't want any accidents to keep her busy. She is board certified as an emergency physician. She's the past president of the College of Physicians, of Emergency Room Physicians here in Georgia, and serves on many of the national committees. And she is a real supporter of higher education and is currently the medical director for Georgia Tech's Student Health Service. So I hope nobody will hold that against her, all you Georgia fans. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Olson.
Well, good morning. I'm actually safe. My oldest son went to Georgia, too. So both schools got my money. I'd like to thank all of you for everything you do, and on behalf of myself and all of the Georgia Tech physicians who have served as Doctor of the Day last week and will finish up this week, it is our pleasure and our privilege to be able to serve, and we thank you again for all that you do.
Thank you.
House will remain in order, please. Chair recognizes for an invite resolution Representatives Teasley, Evans, and Manning for an invite resolution. Representative Teasley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are excited today to bring before you the recipient of the Georgia School Superintendent of the Year, Dr. Emily Lembeck. Thank you. She is joined today with her husband, Harry, School Board Member Tony Fazzola, School Board Member Randy Weiner, School Board Member Tom Cheater, the last three of which being in the district I represent. Good to see my constituents here. And then Logan Weber, also a School Board Member. And we have Thomas Algarin, who is with the Marietta School Board System as well. And so we're excited. One of the reasons I'm so excited to bring Dr. Lembeck before you today is I have seen her firsthand, the passion that she has for student achievement. And it's something that drives her, and you can see it in test results. You can see it in the way that the Marietta City School System has improved. And now she's received acclaim across the state as someone who has represented the school system well and is doing a good job on behalf of our students. So I wanted to give Dr. Lembeck an opportunity to say a few words and invite my fellow colleagues here who've also been working with me on this to bring her here. Dr. Lembeck.
Thank you and good morning. Fortunately for all of you, I have not prepared a speech, but I do want to thank you and tell you how much I appreciate this incredible honor. I never started out wanting to be State Superintendent of the Year. I just wanted to provide quality public education for the children that we serve, regardless of their background. I do want to thank all of the wonderful educators I work with, the great focused and strong school board that I have, and a great community that supports me in the work that I do. This is an honor, and I appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Quite an honor.
It is not very customary that I come to the podium to brag on somebody that is a constituent and is a neighbor and is a friend, as I do today for Emily Lembeck. On behalf of all the children of Georgia, we appreciate the work that she has done to make our students as bright as they can be for our state. Thank you, Emily, for what you do to make our kids proud.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you so much.
We are going on to the rules calendar. Going on to the rules calendar. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 337. House Bill 337.
House Bill 337 by Representative Green, 149th, a bill to be entitled Act amending Code Section 4716-101 relating to retirement benefit options under the Sheriff's Retirement Fund of Georgia. Favor of member to select an option, effective change in retirement benefits and options, change of option after receipt of payment, so as provided in the event of divorce, a retired member who is elected spouse's option may elect to continue or revoke that coverage. Bill having been for the House Committee on Retirement. The committee recommends that the bill do pass, and this bill is being read for its third time.
Chair recognizes Representative Green to present the bill. Representative Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 337 was brought to me last year by the Board of the Sheriff's Retirement Fund. And as you know, the board is comprised of 6 members. That is the state treasurer, 1 retired sheriff appointed by the governor, and 4 sitting sheriffs appointed by the governor. And House Bill 337 is simply a housekeeping bill which allows a member of the fund to change his or her benefit option upon divorce. Now, this brings it in line with all of our other bills or retirement systems, TRS, ERS, firefighters. It just puts them all on the same field now. And House Bill 337 does not affect the division of assets in a divorce, even if those assets are required to be paid by the member. The minority leader and I had a discussion over that, and she understands now exactly what it does. So House Bill 337 simply enables the members of the Sheriff Retirement Fund to better manage his or her defined benefit options. Mr. Speaker, if there's no questions, I yield the well. Thank you very much.
You have questions if you care to yield. Chair recognizes Representative Williams to your left for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do indeed.
My friend in the well, I've just got a scenario, and just to clarify, there might be some of the bill I don't understand. I'm married 36 years. Wife put me through college. Stayed up late night waiting on me, and I decided to make a change in my socks. What about the 36 years?
Well, I tell you what, that's a good question that you have you've asked them. But you know, we have looked at this. It came before the retirement committee. We had last year to study it, and we studied it during the summer. We looked at it. And, you know, if something does happen in that respect, you know, you're just going to have to make that decision in relation to your life.
All right, sir.
You have another question if you care to yield.
It's a slow morning, isn't it, Mr. Speaker? Yes, sir, I'll yield.
Chair's not going to comment on the morning. Chair recognizes Representative Harden to your right for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman Noel, friendly question in regards to the question that was just asked. I think that's a very good point. Isn't it true that the United States military does exactly what was just stated, in that if a gentleman has been put through college, has been made the man he is by the spouse at home, and he chooses later in life to go a different route, the United States government, through the United States military, recognizes the benefits of that spouse, and even through a divorce of no fault of her own, would allow her to still receive those benefits in the case of a divorce like that?
that is true on what you're stating there. The judge in a divorce case can order so much money to be paid. He doesn't care where it's going to come from, you know. Right. But he's got to come up with that amount of money. And let me call your attention to a provision in the state of Georgia. It says, and this is coming from Code Section 47-16-122, none of the funds under this chapter, and this is talking about garnishments or judgments, assignability, shall be subject to attachment, garnishment, or judgment rendered against the person entitled to receive such funds. Such funds shall not be assignable, but shall be paid to the person determined to be entitled to receive them under the chapter. It's his money.
Further small follow-up.
Or her money.
Line 24 and 25, in the event that the retired member remarries after a divorce. So if he chooses a divorce after, say, 30 years of a fault of his own, if he chooses a divorce, the wife that made him the man he is, it is up to him. He is the one that can revoke her benefits of no choice of her own, correct?
He is the one, yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I think everyone understands the bill now, and so I will yield the well.
The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 337 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? He's not out there. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 337, the ayes are 95, the nays are 58. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 675. House Bill 675.
House Bill 675 by Representative Cooper of the 41st, a bill to be entitled Act Amendment Title 43 relating to nurses, revised definitions of approved nursing education programs for registered professional nurses and licensed practical nurses. Bill having been for the House Committee on Health and Human Services, the committee recommends the bill to pass. The bill is being read for the third time.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee, Chairman Cooper, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, House Bill 675 corrects an unintended consequence from a bill that we passed in 2009. That unintended consequence was not found until this summer in either late May or early June. And since that time, nurses who have graduated from a three-year school of nursing or from the armed services have not been able to obtain a license in the state of Georgia. The bill corrects that. And I would appreciate your favorable consideration. And Mr. Speaker, if there's no questions, I'll yield the well.
You have no questions. You yielded? Lady has yielded the well, has no questions. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 675 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 675. The ayes are 161, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Okay, House will remain in order. We're going to go back. There was one morning order that was not ready and now is. Chair recognizes. Sorry, I didn't. You're not lit up here, Madam Chair. For what purpose does Chairman Cooper rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To make a motion
State your motion.
That House Bill 675 be immediately transferred into the Senate.
On the motion of the lady that House Bill 675 be immediately transmitted to the Senate, is there objection? Chair hears none. It is winging its way across the Capitol. Okay, we're going on to a morning order. If you have a morning order, you need to be at the front. Chair recognizes for a morning order Chairman Neal, Chairman Dixon, and Representative Weldon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the House. Chairman Dixon's on the way, and I think Representative Weldon was called out, and I don't see him coming in, but we have a group today, 6-year-old Dizzy Dean team from Boynton, and they are the world champions from last year. So if you would congratulate them on their world championship, 6-year-old Dizzy Dean team from Boynton. Thank you.
For what purpose? We're still doing business here in the House. It's a low roar. Actually, not very low. What purpose does Representative Collins rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I make a motion that House Bill 805 be moved from retirement to government affairs. Both chairmen have agreed.
Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 805 by Representative Collins, 27th. Bill will be entitled, Act Title 47, Retirement Pensions, make conforming amendments, correct references relative to the abolition, State Personnel Administration.
On the motion of Representative Collins that House Bill 805 be withdrawn from the Retirement Committee and recommitted to the Governmental Affairs Committee, is there objection? Chair hears none. It is so ordered. Chair recognizes Representative Black for a motion. Representative Black.
Move that the House insist on its position on HB 133 and a committee of conference be appointed.
Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 133 by Representative Black, 174th. A bill to be entitled, Act Title 48, relating to current income tax payment for conditions refunding de minimis overpayments.
Chair recognizes Representative Black to explain his motion.
This is a bill we passed out last year that limits the taxes, both refunds and bills, to $1. If it's less than $1 that you owe, the IRS, the Department of Revenue would not bill you. If it's more than $1 or less than $1 refund you got coming, they would not refund it unless you requested it. The House removed a portion of that. I think we need to go in conference and work this thing out. Thank you.
You have a question if you... No, you don't. I'm sorry. She waived. On the motion of the gentleman that this House insist on its position on House Bill 133 and that a conference committee be appointed, is there objection? Chair hears none. It is so ordered. The chair appoints as a committee of conference on House Bill 133 Representative Black, Chairman Chanel, and Leader O'Neill. Representative Black, Chairman Chanel, Leader O'Neill. The clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
These first five resolutions are invitation resolutions. They're being read for the first time today and being referred to the Committee on Rules. A resolution by Representative Hughley of the 133rd, commending Edwin Jackson, inviting him to be recognized by the House. A resolution by Representative Parrish, 156, commending Alvy Coes III, and inviting him to be recognized by the House of Representatives. A resolution by Representative Jones, the 46th, commending Georgia State University, recognizing February 2nd, 2012, Georgia State University Day at the State Capitol, inviting President Mark Becker, his wife Laura Bassett, Coach Bill Curry, Athletic Director Cheryl Levitt, Senior Advisor to the President Tom Lewis, to be recognized by the House. A resolution by Representative Taylor of the 79th, commending University of Georgia head coach Mark Richt, inviting him to be recognized by the House of Representatives. And a resolution by Representative Murphy of the 120th, commending Dr. Bill Bloodworth and inviting him to be recognized by the House of Representatives. The following resolutions are being read for the first time today for adoption. A resolution by Representative Martin, the 47th, recognizing February 1st, 2012, Georgia Food Banks Association Day at the Capitol. A resolution by Representative Tankersley, the 158th, recognizing and commending Jeannie Lynn Anderson. A resolution by Representative England, the 108th, recognizing and commending Jack and Helen Bryant. A resolution by Representative England, the 108th, recognizing and commending 2011 Women in Municipal Government Leadership Award winner Auburn Mayor Linda Bleckinger. A resolution by Representative Shelton, 105th, recognizing and commending Ms. Freshman DeCula 2011 Courtney Grapp. Resolution by Representative Shelton, 105th, recognizing and commending Little Miss DeCula 2011 Annie Stansel. A resolution by Representative Sheldon, 105th, recognizing and commending Miss Sophomore DeCula 2011 Charity Bandy. A resolution by Representative Carter, the 175th, recognizing February the 1st to February 28, 2012 Career and Technical Education Month at the Capitol. A resolution by Representative Burns, the 157th, honoring and celebrating the 100th birthday of Mary Hudman Simmons. A resolution by Representative Dudgeon, 24th, honoring and celebrating the 114th birthday of Dr. Leila Denmark through the privilege resolutions.
Is there objection to the adoption of the privilege resolutions? The chair hears none. The resolutions are adopted. Now, if you have an announcement, we're about to make announcements. If you have an announcement and you haven't signed up with a messenger, then we can't recognize you because we don't know what you wanting to do. House will come to order. We're going on to announcements. Chair recognizes the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, Chairman Chanel, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ways and Means Committee will meet today at 3 o'clock in 606 CLOB.
Chair recognizes Representative Hanner for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have a rural caucus meeting at 12 o'clock in room 514 LOB. The issue that will be discussed is metal theft, and I think it'll be quite interesting. So, love to have you join us. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman McCall for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In case y'all didn't get your notice, tomorrow morning the doors open at 7:15 at the depot for the Georgia Agribusiness Council breakfast. They are Georgia-grown products, so you don't have to worry about somebody reporting you for eating with them.
I didn't know there was an exception for Georgia-grown products. Chair recognizes Representative Kaiser for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I actually have two announcements. With the Atlanta Fulton County delegation will be meeting at noon in room 403. And then maybe somewhat not quite as equally important. Yesterday I came to work in a beautiful lavender jacket, much like my minority leader is wearing, and somehow made it from the Capitol to my car without it. So if you find it, I have very little color in my wardrobe, and if I see you with it on, I may have to tackle you. But if you do find it, if you would return it to me, I'd be very appreciative. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Jacobs for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Jacobs Subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee will meet tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. in the Judiciary Committee room. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Chair recognizes Chairman Willard for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The full Judiciary Committee will meet this afternoon, room 132 of the Capitol for committee meeting, starting at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Hamilton for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Governmental Affairs Full Committee has a hearing today at 3 p.m. in 341 Capitol. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Chairman Neal for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. State Institution and Properties will meet at 3 o'clock today, CLOB room 415. 3 o'clock, CLOB room 415. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Flood for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For tomorrow, for members of the Working Families Caucus, we will be having a training session on social media. So if you need to learn how to blog, tweet, use Facebook or your websites, please join the Working Families Caucus tomorrow from 3 to 5 in room 216 of the Capitol. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Benfield for an announcement.
Thank you. For those of you who are interested in farm to school initiatives, the Georgia Organics Council is having their quarterly meeting today at the Capitol. It's actually right now in room 605 of the Legislative Office Building, and there will be a delicious organic meal, so stop by if you have a chance. They should be there till about 12:30 or 1. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Setzler for an announcement.
Subcommittee 2 of Non-Civil Judiciary will be meeting today in room 415 at 1 p.m. We'll be taking up 2 bills, and we're scheduling a vote. Subcommittee 2 Non-Civil, 1 p.m. in room 415 of the LOB.
Chair recognizes Chairman Stevens for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The coastal delegation meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock is canceled. We are rescheduling. Thank you.
If you have pages here today, we're going to start doing page photographs immediately upon adjournment up here at the rostrum. But before we end, we have to honor the birthday today of Representative Dawkins Hagler. Representative Dawkins Hagler celebrating her birthday today. And she's celebrating it in the anteroom. No further announcements, no further business to come before this House today. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the Georgia House of Representatives, Leader O'Neill, for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move this House now adjourn until 10 a.m. Wednesday, February the 1st, 2012.
On the motion of the Majority Leader that this House stand adjourned until Wednesday, February 1, 2012 at 10 o'clock a.m. All those in favor of the motion will please indicate by saying aye. Those opposed will indicate by saying no. It is the judgment of the chair that the ayes have it. This House will be adjourned until tomorrow at 10 a.m.